there's a person who has truly embodied the type of leadership that we desperately need on the global scale, is without question Francesca Albanese. And the way that she has put herself in harm's way, even though, as it has been pointed out by you many a times before, she is not ideological.
She's just doing her job.
Just doing her job.
Psychotic about the whole thing. She's not doing her job.
In no way, shape, or form has she been doing anything other than the right thing, which is calling what Israel is doing wrong. Colin, if you will, I need you to pull up the story that I sent you from earlier today. This just came out within the last few hours. So I didn't even get a chance to change the banner. I even thought about doing that. But I want people to know why today Francesca Albanese had her blue check mark removed. You can go back to what you were just at, Colin. Go back to that, please. She had her blue check mark removed by Elon Musk today on Twitter X. But there's more to the story. You see, this is what Francesca has been working on. These 60 companies she has brought to the world's attention are invested in Israel's infrastructure. Now, I can't see all of them, but I can see a few of them. I see Bay Systems, Lockheed Martin, Caterpillar. What the fuck is? Well, I know what. Now that I think.
Oh, are you kidding me? Excavation equipment.
Mm-hmm. Elbit Systems.
And there it is. BlackRock,
Google, Amazon, IBM, Microsoft, Palantir. Can't forget about Palantir. We all know they're involved. Dell. Who the hell buys Dells anymore? Chevron, BP, Volvo.
That's sad. I'm not going to take it out on Jason. He's not aware, and he just renews the lease he had from before. Can we just for a second? I'm going to put this out there. Maybe guys in the chat will have a good solution. So I am in the process of looking to open a new business bank account for Revolutionary Change. Can anybody please put in the least offensive banking institutions that you could think of that will not make it complicated for a small business? That's all. Thank you. Carry on. Because I'm sitting here while you're reading this list, and it's offensive, but yeah.
Our trusty MVP behind the scenes letting us know that he lives in Central Texas by one of those Dell factories. You can imagine that's a huge part of it too. The government, when we talk about people that are in favor of the free market, there is no such thing as the free market. It's whoever greases the wheels of the right people and gets the contract. PFL League, hey, Jen and Peter, can you look up on Google 61% of Israeli men?
What about them?
I don't know what you mean by that, brother. You're going to have to, or sister, not sure, but you're going to have to.
Comrade.
Hyundai, Vanguard.
This is so aggravating to me because I do use both Airbnb and I use Booking.com. And here's the thing. We know that if you take apart any one thing, all roads lead to the same companies. Like you can only get so far. If you stay in any type of hotel, if you stay in any, like where would it not go to these companies?
That's true.
Any hotel chain, any of it, like where would it not lead to this?
Yeah, well, Maersk is, I feel bad because Volvo is typically considered like one of the good companies, supposedly, but obviously everyone's got a price. And then, of course, you find the biggest players of them all, Citigroup, JP Morgan Chase, Barclays, BlackRock, Maersk, Vanguard, any of the multinational banking corporations. Although it is nice to see that Bank of America is not there, although maybe they're hiding somewhere. I mean, anything's possible. But the fact is, they don't like when these things are pointed out. And so some douchebag, who I am not really familiar with, but of course his name just gives it away. Colin, if you will, please pull up the tweet thread that I sent you earlier from this gentleman by the name of Hillel, I think is what his first name is.
Are you sure it's not from the organization Hillel?
No, apparently this is what the guy goes by. And he's very proud of this, Jen. Keep in mind, very proud. Breaking. Hillel Newer
Okay.
That explains it. Breaking: after our legal appeal to Elon Musk to enforce the new U.S. sanctions against Hamas terrorism, Hamas terrorism.
Oh my God.
Francesca Albanese.
Our legal appeal? What legal appeal to Elon Musk? Is he an appellate judge? Have I missed something?
Well, he is the judge, jury, and executioner of
I'm just curious. When you say a legal appeal, what does that mean? Did you file a lawsuit against?
I also want to remind people of this very important fact that a lot tend to forget. The only true social media town square that we have in the United States is Twitter, X. That's all we've got. That's a monopoly. By law, it shouldn't even exist. There should be competition. There is no competition. And the only things that are out there are Blue Sky and Truth Social. And what do they have in common? They are both hyper partisan, tiny, they're not even competitors. In fact, most people that are on Blue Sky and Truth Social are already on X, and they create a secondary account to go bitch to their, bubble over there. That's basically what they do. So just on the surface, it makes no sense. But in this case, he is doing a victory lap because he got Francesca Albanese's blue check removed, diminishing this UN anti-Semites reach, which again, Jen, as you like to point out, these Zion-Nazis don't even know what the definition of Semite actually means.
Well, and the lunacy of it is, the UN was created after World War II as a response largely to the horrific atrocities that happened in the Holocaust and following World War II. Like, the whole point of the reason that Francesca's position exists was so that we wouldn't have the situation that we're having. So the lunacy of referring to anything having to do with the United Nations and her in particular, but just in the United Nations as an anti-Semitic entity when it was created post-Holocaust to address these issues of international crimes against humanity. Like, that's the whole point.
Colin, I don't know if you can blow up that legal eagle, if I can even read this. Mr. Elon Musk. Dear Mr. Musk, we write on behalf of UN Watch, a nonprofit organization dedicated to holding the UN accountable to its founding principles, to bring your attention that X Corp is providing prohibited services to Francesca Paula Albanese. And
wait. I don't understand this. Well, okay. So then what I need to understand or know is, what is the United Nations Watch? Because okay. A nonprofit organization means so many different things. What does that mean? Is it a PAC? Is it a 501c3? What is its, anything could be a nonprofit organization, I assure you. So I don't know what that means. And I don't know under what authority they seem to think that they have. That's what's so interesting about this. Like,
well, it's not even a question.
Some unknown organization.
But here's the problem. It's not a question of whether they legitimately have authority or not. They are showing you that they do because Musk adhered to what they wanted.
Well, of course, but I'm just saying this is how ridiculous this is. And he is referring to this as his legal matter. This is not a legal matter. It's bullying. That's all it is. It's bullying. And here's the thing is, you're bullying a bully. So it's kind of funny. But Elon Musk, it's like, you really don't have to bully him. You could just say, hey, do this. And he will, because he doesn't really care one way or the other.
If anything affects his bottom line, that's all he
exactly.
does. On July 9th, 2025, pursuant to President Trump's Executive Order 14203, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio designated Ms. Albanese for full blocking sanctions on the grounds that she directly engaged with the ICC, the International Criminal Court, in efforts to investigate, arrest, detain, or prosecute nationals of the U.S. or Israel. Again, I don't understand what the crime is here. Without the consent of those two countries, again, no one needs approval. You don't.
Okay, so let me explain how ridiculous this is. Okay, so in other words, you need the person's consent that you're arresting to arrest them if they're acting in violation with international law. So then essentially any rogue state can just do whatever it wants. Like, right? Like we would have no authority over anybody if they don't subject themselves to that authority. So this whole thing is really stupid. I'm just saying. I am curious. And who is it who wrote this?
Hillel Noir, I guess is his name.
Hillel. Wait, is this somebody with legal training?
He's well, we'll get to that in a minute.
All right, I hope not. And if so,
gross infringement on the sovereignty of both countries, and that the pursued campaigns of political and economic warfare which threaten U.S. national interests and sovereignty, Ms. Albanese's designation and threat to U.S. national security and armed forces. Again, this is why we have to cut ties with our greatest ally. Because again,
I say that's not how it needs to be worded or phrased, and I think that's misleading. Anywho, continue.
There are very powerful entities within the United States that believe that we are to be one and the same with Israel. And the overwhelming majority of Americans do not want this. So I understand that you're saying that it's one and the same, maybe for the power structure at the top, but most people don't want this.
I understand they don't want it. I don't want it, but it is. So I don't think that Israel or not think that they're an independent entity. I know they're not an independent entity. If an entity cannot exist on its own, it is thereby not an independent entity. Israel is an extension of American empire, and they cease to exist the minute that American empire decides it's done with the experiment. So to say that we're going to cut ties with them, again, it's like, yes, we could amputate our limb and just watch it die off. That's true. But it's not like if we cut ties with it, it will just go on existing on its own and we'll go on existing on our own. Jen, there is no cutting ties with it.
Jen?
Yes.
And of course, good to see Zaina. Haven't seen you in a while, my friend.
Hi, Zaina.
Make sure, guys, we have over 210 people watching already, but only 104 of you have smashed that like button. If you would, please smash it so that this can get out to more people. We would really appreciate it very, very much. Colin, can you go to the next slide, please? No, I think there was another. Wasn't there a second one, or am I wrong? This is the only. Yeah. So basically, these guys are. Yeah. Okay. So if you want to pull up that clip of Francesca divulging info, Ria Hamas. Again, all of these things have been debunked despite what Hillel has to say. So if you could pull up that audio clip of Francesca real quick.
Yeah, I mean, it's people like, yeah. That letter was written by somebody who sounds to me stupid. So the fact that that is his reference, like that's him bullying X, threatening to make some claim based on what? What the fuck standing do you have, Hillel?
So evidently, this this lawsuit, if you will, was brought against Francesca from over a year ago that she made this particular statement. So never forget when we talk about the Johnny-come-latelys, Francesca's been on this from day one.
Look, there are different views on what happened on October 7, but the thing is, the violence of that day, which was brutal for the Israelis, but that brutality was also, there were fabrications attached to it, like the mass rape and other horror stories.
In the West, the mainstream media has replicated and amplified the lies we have heard. And I said, sometimes I look at politicians and journalists who have repeated lies. But what's the need to talk about mass rapes? There is no evidence of rape.
So October the 11th last year, you said on X, Hamas's crimes, including rape, have not been confirmed. And you said that divulging information about the perpetration of rape by Hamas risks to escalate tensions and endanger lives in a volatile context. Now, a report from the UN in March of this year said there are reasonable grounds to believe that conflict-related sexual violence, including rape and gang rape, occurred across multiple locations of Israel and the Gaza periphery during the attacks on 7th of October. Do you now accept that they happened?
I prefer to rely on the report on the two reports issued this year by the Commission of Inquiry, because unlike the Patel's report, the special representative of the Secretary General went to Israel, didn't interview any victims, made very controversial statements. I respect her, but at the same time, I respect the findings of a fact-finding body whose job is to collect evidence. If rape occurred, it should have been investigated, prosecuted, and the responsible people
But the
should be held
UN
to
says
justice.
it did happen.
No, the point is, no,
you
the
work
UN
at the UN.
no, the UN, the UN there are political appointees and then human rights appointees, and the Commission of Inquiry concluded that in June that there was no evidence to support the claims of gang rape. But let's assume, I don't want to say anything that I've not investigated, so let's assume that rape occurred. So
I just want to ask you about this
We got to pause.
project report. They're now saying there's evidence.
She's just, is it me? Her voice is so appealing to me. Now, I am not really like into chicks. It's not my thing, but I got to tell you, the Italian lady sound, like Isabella Rossellini, Sophia Loren, like she just sounds so good. And yeah, she sounds so good. I don't even know how anybody could argue with her.
Well, keep in mind that clip with Piers was from almost a year ago. And remember, Piers was very much supporting Israel. So even then, she wasn't taking his shit, even though his tune has obviously changed. But she knew all of what was going on and was not letting up. That's the beauty of it all, is that she really has been relentless about justice. And of course, when it comes to the Israel lobby, they don't deal in justice. They just deal in censorship and silence because their project cannot be defended. And now it really can't be defended. But the beautiful thing about it is they're just going to seal their own fate. Their activities, their actions, they will succumb because they have nothing else to do. They will just hasten it. They don't know how to delay it.
They took away her blue check is the point of this whole thing.
Which is
based
just
on all of this horrid evidence of her speaking out on behalf of humans.
Yeah, no sense whatsoever. Okay, Colin.
Evidence, sexual violence was widespread and systematic on October 7, especially around the Nova Music Festival. I just want to get your reaction to that.
Look, I cannot comment on this report, which is the first time I hear of. However, there has been an investigation of the Commission of Inquiry on Israel-Palestine about what happened on October 7. And it's been very difficult for the Commission of Inquiry to access the victims. I've read other reports written by including Israeli sources, Physicians for Human Rights, who have backtracked from what they said in the beginning. So, of course, I cannot pronounce myself on violence that I don't know of. If it has occurred, of course it deserves justice. There is no question about that.
But again, that evidence doesn't exist. It was all made up propaganda because, as we've stated before, there is ample evidence already being displayed that Netanyahu knew about what was going to happen on October 7th way before that it did. The tragedy of Bernie Sanders and how he's destroying his legacy by still going out there in front of the national public and saying it was 1,200 people that were killed and there was mass rape and the baby beheading. I'm like, they're still going with it, which is a tragedy within itself. And I'm still not convinced that they don't actually know the truth, that they're just saying it whether to protect certain people. It's eventually all going to collapse. If you come after Francesca Albanese, you will lose.
Well, it's just so absurd. And so what we're saying is, so Elon Musk caved to some nonprofit organization with a letterhead that is telling him that she did things that were her job And so therefore she should lose her check, which I'm sure that's not anything she's crying about.
Yeah. And therein lies the thing. Francesca knows what she's worth. She knows what she brings to the table. She isn't going to apologize for doing what is necessary for humanity. And even though there are a lot of people out there that are afraid to do the right thing, to stand up and say what needs to be said, she is willing to take on all of that ire, all of it, even if it means risking frankly, her safety. I mean, I have no doubt that they have, she's been threatened, but she's definitely.
But she's been doing this for years. Like, this is now, more people are obviously aware of it since October 7, 23. But this has been her position, I believe, since like 2014. I mean, she's been doing this a long time and dealing with the wrath of everybody that is a Zio, whether it's here or in the UK or wherever it is, calling her anti-Semitic anytime she has ever said anything against the occupation, which again, that's her job, is to speak out against human rights violations in Palestine.